Welcome back, one and all, to the official EGF channel and to Big East. It's time, Shinkari. It's the match we've been waiting for, the fight of the night, the main event. Butler versus DePaul, number 2 and number 3 against each other. The preview, perhaps, of the playoff stages.
Oh yeah, for sure. Both of these teams have so much riding on the line here. But DePaul has a very hard next few games. They're going up against Butler here. They have to play against the Friars next, the 17th. It's going to be a little easier for them, but when it comes to round 18, they're going up against St. John's, and they're still in second place, and they have a couple of teams still nipping at their heels. Seton Hall and Marquette, and even UConn and Georgetown still have a chance to get into the top 4, and it's all riding on these next few games, and a lot of pressure is on DePaul right here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving coming into this one today. Yeah, Butler and DePaul tied in second place with each other. So, before we get into Champ Select for this incredibly important game, for you, what are the standout strengths and weaknesses of both of these teams?
I think that Butler has a very strong mid lane. Levi is a very strong individual player. When given the opportunity to get ahead, Levi makes very good plays. He's put on a lot of very strong champions. We saw him on the Irelia the last time he was on stream, and I think this is the way for Butler to win their game. Butler, Levi, very strong player, very, very good player, but when in comparison in the bot lane, if you take a look at the bot lane, Lunstorm and Mojo Romo are up against Titans, possibly the best duo lane in the entire league. Arzayers has the second most assists in the league. King Amazin, a grandmaster AD carry player, has the third best KDA in the whole league, the most kills in the whole league, and there is rarely a lane that he loses. King Amazin is so incredibly good, and putting all of your carry potential into the bot lane could smell disaster.
So, last time these two played, we did see some very strong performances, particularly from King and Mason. You mentioned, they pull out some ridiculous numbers, but also from Reaper in the jungle on the Kha'Zix. They locked down 8 kills to actually match King Amazing in terms of raw killing power.
I mean, that's exactly what you want to be doing on Kha'Zix anyway. I mean, if I saw a Kha'Zix with 0 kills, I'd be like, what are you doing? Are you... Oh, no. Don't worry, dog. I'm just a support, I guess. It's just like if a Kha'Zix has 0 kills and a bunch of assists, I'd be like, hello, what are we doing here, buddy? But this is definitely a very, very strong team for DePaul, and they need to show up 100%. And, we've been talking about DePaul so much, but Butler themselves, another very strong team going into this. Now, granted, they have a fewer, easier games going into these last 3, and not a whole lot of super important games like DePaul has. They have this match against against Butler, and then they do have that match against St. John's. Butler's matchups looking into these last few rounds a little easier, but definitely still a very good team for them, and could steal away second place from DePaul here and knock them down to even getting knocked out of top 4.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if these last 3 games of the season go spectacularly wrong, there's still a big potential to see those 4 qualifying teams change. But we'll head into Champ Select and see. So DePaul will be on your red team for today. The Bulldogs rocking things in the blue, as the first bands will be the Kaiser, Thresh, and Vladimir from the Bulldogs. Yumi, seeing, of course, the ever-popular Seraphine taken away, and one more for DePaul.
Yeah, a whole lot of bans being thrown in the bot lane here. That Yumi is a ban against Mojo Romo. He is a huge Yumi player, even though he hasn't been playing a whole lot this season on the Yumi. He has about 272 games and in master rank from the previous season under his belt with that Yumi, a 57% win rate. Even though this is a difference between season 10 and season 11, that's a lot of games you don't want to give a comfort pick to that same person. Seraphine and Rel also being banned away. More supportive bans here. Seraphine being played by both Levi and Mojo Romo, and also just a very strong pick in general. Vladimir being taken away from Zerch, and these are just a lot of targeted bans, but also very powerful picks as well.
And we've got the Camille and Reaper on the Hecarim for DePaul. For the Bulldogs, they brought out the Karma shielding to go with the Olaf for the extra speed up, but Levi bringing out the Rise. That's a pretty big departure from what we were hoping and expecting for them.
Yeah, usually we see Levi on a lot flashier champions, a lot more movement speed heavy, a lot of movement abilities, but this time he's going for the Rise. A bit of an interesting pick, a big scaler in the mid lane here, scales a lot off of mana. It should be interesting to see. I'm not a huge fan of the Rise in the current meta, but with Vladimir taken off the table and wanting to pick a fairly safe mid laner, I'm guessing that's at least my thought here. But we should probably take a look at what DePaul have drafted here, because a very powerful pick for Kamcha has been left on the table. That's Camille being picked up and Reaper playing Hecarim.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and getting into second bans as well, we're seeing some AD carries banned out from both sides. DePaul look like they're going after the relatively safe carries, and Bulldog look like they're going after the carries that can take over the whole game.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Kaisa and Vayne being banned away. We've seen folks kind of like shift away from Kaisa in the bot lane after her nerfs and kind of the buffs to attack speed carries around her. And you know, this is exactly what you want to be doing if you're DePaul. You want to be taking 80 carries you know you're not going to play off the table, force them onto an 80 carry that will force to fight King Amazon in the bot lane. If you force them to take a champion like a Kaisa or a Vayne, even though they were banned away, I'm just using some examples here. You do force them to fight King Amazon, and almost every time he's going to win that. And not even almost every time. I'd say like 85% of the time he wins those.
It does seem like a lot of effort to get rid of the Kaiser, as mentioned, and then just leave the Tristana up for the taking. Very similar effects in a lot of time. But for Lundstorm, last time these teams played, Lundstorm was the only player who managed to come out of it somewhat with a good KDA. That misfortune going to be very powerful. The top lane Volibear will complete a formidable looking front line for the Bulldogs.
Oh yeah, for sure. These are two very attack speed heavy tanks that want to be running directly into your team. Especially, I want to point out that Volibear's ultimate really makes for turret dives early a lot easier, especially with Olaf. So I'm looking at this top lane here. I'm looking that maybe we see some roams out of the Volibear in order to be turret diving this top lane Camille for sure.
Hello. What's going on here then? It looks like we've got ourselves a surprise pick coming out from DePaul. Have we seen Zerch at all running the Rumble?
I don't know. It certainly is a pick that people have been picking up more and more of. And I think with this team that has a decent chunk of zone control, you know, we have Nautilus, we have Camille here, and especially with Hecarim controlling where people are positioned, following up with this Rumble ultimate is very, very strong here. Also helps keep people in place for this Tristana to pop off as well. And this is going to be a very, very interesting team fighting composition that DePaul have put together here. They have three very powerful picks here. They have Camille, they have Hecarim, they have Tristana. And then they have a lot of good support for King Amazon here between all the CC that they have. I just think that maybe this Rumble will be playing just a little bit farther back, trying to help out and zone for this Tristana here. Whereas Butler have drafted a comp that wants to dive onto the backside here. Normally, we don't see Rise as a particular dive-heavy champion. He does have that ultimate, which can reposition his whole team. But Volibear, Olaf, Karma, these are big movement speed heavy champions that want to get in your face. They want to be diving. They want to be controlling the tempo of these team fights. And it's going to be really up to Butler to really get ahead and shut down King Amazon as fast as possible.
I mean, as we've said and we'll say, I suspect, many times more before we're through here today, King Amazon with the stats to rival anyone that you would care to name. Just truly ludicrous. Do you feel like the Bulldogs have done enough to stop this from just being another King Amazing highlight reel game?
It will be interesting to say. Olaf does have a good shot here at getting close to the Tristana. Once again, like we say every time Tristana's on screen, Tristana very hard to lock down. What you need to be doing is forcing her to use her jump early and then following up with something, but usually she's so far back, and you know, Ragnarok only lasts for so long, and there's a lot of things in between you and that Tristana. There's a Hextech ultimatum, there's a depth charge, there's every single ability on Nautilus, basically. Like, there's going to be a lot of things in between you and that Tristana if she's able to jump away.
Well, I mean, we've got, the Misfortune and the Karma down the bottom side. We've seen, teams before when they're a little bit vulnerable down in that 2v2 bottom lane get really punished. For the Misfortune and the Karma, do you think they can weather the storm?
It'll be interesting. What's cool about this Misfortune Karma lane is that there's a lot of actual magic damage on their side. Misfortune actually being deceptively heavy with the magic damage. We did see for a little bit a few seasons ago, folks would take support Misfortune as a thing, and they would build actually AP sometimes, and she would do a surprisingly amount of damage. And with the Karma here, empowered Qs early on, very, very devastating.
Yeah, we know that Mojo Romo can do a lot of work for the squad, but you did also uncover an interesting stat. The Mojo Romo not just good at laying down the firepower, but also has some other more utility purposes for the squad.
Of course, I did find this out just today, that Mojo Romo does have the most wards placed in the whole league. And normally folks would be like, okay, whatever, wards, sure. The big thing here is that if Butler gets ahead, that's a lot of control over neutral objectives, and also can find picks for themselves if they're able to get ahead early.
All right, guys, we've got to get into our game, but before we do, some words from our schools, and we'll see you on the other side with our main event. Welcome back, everyone. It's time. Butler Bulldogs and DePaul, the top of the table clash, while St. John's looks on. Of course, this is going to be major coming into the final week of play. Who wins out here? Who's got that safety net to guarantee they even get to playoffs at all?
Yeah, this is really big for both teams. A loss here means that there is an opportunity for some of these 4th and 5th place teams to even take you out of the running for the top side here. And this is going to be huge for both teams. I think personally, DePaul, very, very strong, but Butler are the 3rd place team right here, and they have been able to prove it over and over again.
So Butler Mac, as we call back to this last time we saw these two teams play, Butler Mac didn't manage to make a major impact in the game. They really got shut down playing on the Camille themselves. Now it's Kamcha piloting the Camille pick in, and we've got some pretty fierce early trading.
Yeah, this is going to be Kamcha just taking as much advantage over this early volley bear as much as possible. He's opted for Adoran's ring here, which does give him a little bit of extra scaling on his abilities, especially because of defensive ability here. What's huge is that he can just spam his abilities, get the mana back from killing minions, and then be able to get pretty big shields like we saw a little bit earlier on these big lightning storms here. So it's going to be pretty important for Mac to just stay alive here and have that little bit of extra damage.
As we said, King Amazing down the bottom lane. The king of the KDA score pulls out the crazy numbers. Does seem like the Bulldogs are kept things safe for the time being, but Levi burns the flash to try and get away. They're not even going to manage it. The Rise, not the most mobile of picks at the best of times. First Blood only takes 3 minutes.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was expecting from DePaul here. It looks like their jungler might be focusing a little bit more mid lane, especially with Levi losing flash here against an immobile character like Rise. It does mean that Reaper is going to be showing up in this mid lane more often, and definitely running rampant, because I don't think King Amazing really needs help in this bot lane.
Kamcha, though, will get chased out. They're just maybe a little bit too sneaky. Avoids getting hit with the axe as MGL takes a couple of shots on the way out. We are seeing a pretty proactive Butler team, though, with Levi roaming up as well.
Yeah, what I think needs to happen here is that Butler needs to make one of their lanes that is not the AD carry or excuse me, and they made one of their lanes that's not the bottom lane carry for their team here. It's going to be very hard to contest King Amazing. I don't think you should seed the lane, right? But it is going to be important for you to make sure that you have your gold somewhere else on the map, because it's going to be very hard to get Lundstorm ahead.
And we've got Reaper down on the bottom side as well, just at the corner of your screen. So given the smallest of opportunities, you know Reaper will be there. They're going to run right into MGL in the jungle, and Zerch is shoving Levi in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is actually really, really good for Reaper here. Getting this mid prio early means that you can get these sort of roams from Reaper here and deny as much gold from Olaf as possible. Olaf, one of those power farmers that was tried to get shut down by the nerfs of these previous patches, but we've still seen characters like him and Udyr sneak through the cracks and still be able to perform well if given the chance.
Now we'll suffer a little bit with the early CS being stolen away by Reaper. We check around the map. We've seen that the CS has remained more or less even. Butler Mac doing it pretty well up on the top side, about to pick up a mini wave, so they're a little bit ahead of Camshire. In the bottom, things are looking fairly even. King Amazing with a very, very small edge, but outside of that first blood in the mid lane, so far at least, Butler haven't fallen behind.
Yeah, they certainly haven't fallen behind. 1.1k gold at this stage is not something you can't come back from. MGL is just having a little bit of a tough time since Reaper was able to get 2 camps off of him. And also he's in a great position right now to grab that bot side scuttle, which means that they should be able to contest Dragon pretty soon.
And it's going to be Infernal Drake, the first one on the field. As we see here that Mac pushing Camshire in pretty hard, has actually got a TP advantage on the volley bear, so winning out fairly conclusively in the lane, really far ahead on CS, and with the ability to join the next fight.
Yeah, and we're kind of seeing the fruits of Reaper's labors here. It does open up the opportunity it does force MGL in order to go into the top side of the map in order to farm, and then loses the opportunity, but King Amazing might be going in here.
Yeah, King Amazing still went in, even though Alzairs didn't quite manage to land their CC, so a very good trade for Bulldog down in the bottom lane. A slight miscommunication cost them. And that's going to, hopefully, for the Bulldogs, stop this bottom lane from going wildly out of control too quickly.
Yeah, and this is what's really great here is that because Reaper, or I should say, because Zerch is getting a lot of priority in the mid lane, it opens up Reaper to make these sort of decisions to take away, to counter jungle MGL in the jungle, which then opens up King Amazing to force this bottom lane and kind of just keep this pressure as long as possible. Look at where Alzairs is positioning himself. He's putting himself in the exact position to hook a champion if they go in, but it looks like there's a teleport coming in from Butler here.
Yeah, Butler, they're behind, but they actually managed to get onto the Drake first, driving away. A little bit of help from Zerch there, taking that first Drake, and all credit to Butler. You know, they're behind, but they still get the objective anyway.
Yeah, they did have to burn a teleport for it. I mean, it was a pretty safe one as well. Camcha had used it to get back to lane here, but he is still pretty far behind as well and has a bit of a hill to climb in that top lane in terms of CS. So this is that was a really, really good call from Mac there and from the Butler squad as well. Gives them an Infernal Drake under their belt. It's not going to show the fruits. It's not really going to impact right now, but the second that they start to get more stats, the second that this Misfortune decides to back and cash in for gold, it should look like an opportunity that they will capitalize on.
So while for DePaul, they haven't gotten any kills on the bottom side, the CS is looking good. We know King Amazing generates a ludicrously large amount of gold for the team in nearly every game, so that has certainly stayed consistent. As there's a jump in, immediately the exhaust is burned. There's no jungler here, and there is going to be the bullet time as Alzairs gets chunked down. It's very aggressive from DePaul, but it's not getting the kills.
Yeah, this is also the issue of playing Tristana, is that it's very, very hard to actually freeze the lane. You have to basically push it early on, and since you're playing with an engaged support like Nautilus, it's going to be very hard to actually get some long engagements for you to find these kills in order to finally get what you're looking for. But meanwhile, in the mid lane,
And Levi forced to burn the flash in exchange for 3/4 of a control ward and an onslaught of shadows ultimate from Reaper. So Levi still not out of the woods yet. I don't know how much Rise you've played. I know I certainly haven't played a ton. How long does it take before this Rise is going to be a major presence in the game?
He's already starting. I mean, that the tier of the goddess is almost exactly what he needs. On other champions, it's not a damage item. On Rise, it is a damage item. He has it stacked up about halfway now. He's a little bit off. He's now he's more than halfway. 186, 189 now. The 360 is now the max stacks as opposed to 500 from before. So he should be looking to build that into a I am blanking on the name of the staff.
Oh, the Seraphs?
Yeah, Seraph's Embrace. There it is. I'm smart. I'm supposed to be the color caster. Whatever. It's fine.
Learning things is fun, and we're all here to learn today who is the best between these two, and perhaps we'll learn something from them along the way. I mean, yeah, so Levi is stacking up, has fallen behind in CS. King Amazing picked up a few plates in the bottom side as well, so the gold lead, 2,000 for DePaul at the 10-minute mark, so it is growing. It's not growing exponentially, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you have very good farmers. So this is what happens when... So it's from multiple reasons, right? One, Zerch is just getting a lot more CS and forcing Levi, like we're seeing right here, to play super far back. He can't get to these minion waves and farm as well as he could. And now Zerch is nearly at 100 CS, and King Amazing is about to break 100 as well. And they don't need kills in order to get ahead. They just need the pressure mid, and they need King Amazing to just... Come on, there it is. There's 100. Hey, 11 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, just chewing away, building up that passive range on the Tristana pick. We've seen DePaul be aggressive with their 2v2. We've got about a minute and change before the Cloud Drake comes up. Reaper, though, is lurking, trying to turn a play for the Bulldogs.
Oh, yeah. Their bot lane is roaming up, too. Butler knows it's coming. Reaper coming over the wall here.
There's the combo, and Reaper locks down the kill onto Levi. Takes a ton of tower aggro while doing it, but I think Mojoromo just a little too late there to get in with the shield for Levi.
So that was actually a really, really good gank for DePaul there. They traded two for two in terms of ultimates here. Or rather, they traded also, they've got to pick up the Ragnarok, which is a huge tool for MGL here. And, you know, I thought their passage to victory was going to be their bot lane, and maybe it still is, but they're putting a lot of pressure in this mid lane.
Yeah, almost managing to get the second plate down, but look how much damage that Herald did at full health. So that's a chunk of gold back into the pockets of Butler. They don't fall too much further behind. All credit to Reaper, though. They have been all over this map all game long.
Yeah, Reaper is doing a very good job of pressuring Levi early. Levi, like we said, can be pressured up, but this is our Zeramus, might be caught out.
And the TP into 4 members. The route goes through. Kamsha may live to regret this, or they may not. Force the flash away. There's the follow-up crowd control. And suddenly, Butler are back in this game. They may not have gotten the gold back, but they've got the kills just in time to come across and steal away this Drake.
And this is exactly what you want to be doing while you're Butler. You want to be pressuring the other lanes that aren't King Amazing, but King Amazing looking for Lundstorm here.
Has the safety to rocket jump away, so no kill going through, but still. Butler Mac and MGL grabbing the kills for themselves. No assists, though, for Lundstorm, but they're looking for kills of their own. King Amazing is going to get a chance to go back in. Exhaust is ticking. King Amazing gets the first goal. No, Arzeas takes it instead. MGL coming in from the side to deny a second. But King Amazing, you cannot underestimate them.
Yeah, for sure. He might not have any kills underneath his belt, but he does know these engagements very, very well. Like he said, we had him on interview last time, and he attributes a lot of this play to knowing the fundamentals of this game down pat. He flashed very well outside of the the ultimate to keep him at least in range for the follow-up on our Zayers there. And something about Tristana is that she's really good right now is that she does have good consistent damage being an AD carry, but she also has very solid burst damage between her bomb and the burst and the hail of blades. But we might need to worry about the burst damage from Hecarim on the top lane.
Yeah, Butler Mac, I think just acknowledging without the flash, there's no way out of that play. DePaul, they're forcing it through the play themselves. Of course, there is nothing left for them to take up there, apart from the tower itself. No plating left, though. DePaul, they're roaming as a team and trying to catch the Bulldogs off guard.
Yeah, they're really open. I mean, this is what you have to do when you're playing a bunch of high mobility players here, like Nautilus, like Hecarim, like Camille. You want to be roaming around the map, making sure that you maintain this pressure that Zerch has gotten for himself in the mid lane, so that you can throw things elsewhere.
So while this has all been going on, quietly, King Amazing has been building up that CS lead and also taking the first tower down the bottom side, despite Butler getting hold of the first Herald, and it's looking like the second Herald as well.
Yeah, there's going to be a teleport in from Levi as well. This is a pretty big play for them. They're really looking for other ways to get back into this game. They're down nearly 4,000 gold, and this might be the play they're looking for.
MJL grabs hold of it. The equalizer again being used to fish for maybe, just maybe, an objective snipe. It hasn't worked so far. Goal advantage still lies with DePaul coming past 15 minutes. It's 3.5k now. Is the gold lead growing? Is this a big enough lead, I suppose, with DePaul at this kind of point in the game?
At this stage, 3,000 gold is pretty big. I mean, it's the difference between an incomplete and a completed mythic item, and the difference between the components of a mythic item and a mythic item are huge, as we're seeing a Hex Tech Chem Tank, or Turbo Chem Tank rather, coming down for Hecarim here, a Divine Sunderer for Camille, a Night Harvester for the Rumble, and a Kraken Slayer for the Tristana.
Yeah, and you're right, for the Bulldogs, we're seeing a lot of those components on mid lane and bottom lane in particular. Levi, of course, being starved of CS for quite some time, has been sent down to the bottom lane as the solo, while the bottom lane of Butler go to mid instead, facing down that low health mid tower.
Yeah, and this is what you want to be doing if you are DePaul here. We unlocked King Amazing, and now he can roam to the other lanes and put pressure where he wouldn't normally be able to do so. And this is really, really great too. Zerch was having a bit of a hard time with a lot of the pressure that Butler was putting on him, and obviously he has a very low turret. So putting King Amazing here, giving a very mobile champion in this very short lane, is going to be very, very good for DePaul here.
Well, to touch back a little bit more on King Amazing as Butler try and make some overtures towards top, while DePaul are pressuring down bottom. So you mentioned King Amazing, you had this amazing consistent damage with a Kraken Slayer. Is that the same for the Misfortune for Lunstorm as well?
Well, so Misfortune has a lot of combo potential, high burst damage. She wants to be following up on a lot of ultimates and utilizing that bullet time for a vast majority of her damage. And so she's probably going to be building about the same thing, but I believe bullet time just applies on hit effects.
Kamcha seeing Mac down very low. It is a bait, but it's not any good. Kamcha able to bounce back away again, doing an absolute ton of damage. I was wondering, yeah, Kamcha with the Divine Sunderer, they are tearing through this Volibear's health pool.
Oh yeah, Volibear forced to build AP in order to get some good early trades here, and now is finally building tank, but meanwhile Lunstorm in the mid lane.
DePaul, they're doing it again. They're forcing the play, and it's working spectacularly. Grabbing the 2 kills. The Rift Herald will get summoned up in the top side, but DePaul, they are very far ahead of the play. Butler, they might just be able to sneak through tower, or at least some fairly serious tower damage. Kamcha going under the tower, drops down the cancel on the tower. Aggros, Kamcha drops. The Rift Herald is still punching away, so that is going to be an equalization of towers. But Zerch coming in, where's the equalizer going to drop? trying to go past them. That might be a mistake. Gets stunned up and deleted. Arceus, it's going to be a herald onto the inhibitor tower as well. That could not have gone better for Butler.
Oh yeah, this is huge play for Butler here. They're getting so much damage. They nearly even picked up that inhibitor turret as well. That's so much now unlocked for that volley bear. He doesn't even need to teleport around. But oh man, King Amazing onto this rise.
Yes, we're getting into Garen Bush situations now with King Amazing. Even without a single kill, just those 3 assists and a massive CS are so far ahead. The Kamcha is taking the brawl. Reaper is there for the assist. I don't think MGL can do anything about this at all, but try and sell their life dearly. Got Baron coming up in just 20 seconds time. And we've got, of course, for the rest of the game, Mountain Dragons to consider.
Yeah, if Mountain Drake is one of those drakes where if you are ahead, it is insanely good. Scales really well with defensive items. And also, if it's you're ahead, it means that you now have to deal with a damage shield passive on the rest of your whole team for the opposing team, right? If you have Mountain Soul, that means just that more damage you have to deal in order to find the kills in these team fights. And so with DePaul having a decent chunk of some tanky players here, right? We have the Nautilus, we have the Hecarim. That means that these folks who are going to be diving onto their carries are going to be a lot harder to shut down.
Butler Mac getting caught up there and held in the Hextech ultimatum. Reinforcements are coming, but I think it's going to be too late. No! The Volibear stays alive! Kamcha gets taken down instead. Arceus being chased, run down by the Olaf. And again, Butler turn a play they have no business doing at all. And suddenly, they're in a really nice position here. The Baron is up. Do they dare go for it?
I don't know if they go for it here. King Amazing is still alive. Reaper is still alive. That's 2 big things. Oh, they're going for it.
Reaper has been spotted out with a far sight ward. King Amazing coming in from the bottom right of your screen right now. This is a big gamble for Butler, but they've made big gambles and come out ahead. King Amazing, Reaper, the waiting. Zerch is off to the side. Doesn't look like they're going to throw an equalizer in until the last second. Mojirobo goes across the wall, trying to disrupt the play. Reaper locked down with the exhaust. Will get stunned. The Baron goes to the Paul.
Oh my
the
God!
fight made up though. Double kill for King Amazing. They get the reset. Triple kill for King Amazing. You go against the king, you best not miss.
Oh my God. This is huge for DePaul. An absolute turnaround. What was not going to be a huge play for Butler ended up for 3 kills for King Amazing, a steal from Reaper, and they found so much, and now they're going to get just a million turrets. That's on all 5 members of their team is this Baron buff, and King Amazing does so much damage to these turrets.
Oh my gosh, so Butler, we thought they were doing so well. They pushed their luck a little bit too far. Let's take a quick look back as the towers go down over the last play, which could easily have been the game-changing play.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this was very well played by Reaper at first. He's positioned very well for himself to go over and steal. Mojo Romo flashes over the wall to try to force him into a team fight here, but look at this smite steal. There it is. He comes across immediately. There's the steal right there. Reaper gets in there, gets that kill. There's a great bullet time coming across, but he's real tanky. Only really finds the damage onto Reaper here, and now Mac is in a close combat situation against Zerch. It's just the amount of damage that King Amazing needs and the opportunity he needed in order to get in there and find those kills. Absolutely insane play by DePaul.
Oh boy, Butler cursing their luck, or perhaps the decision making that led them to that coin flip situation. So a gold lead that had been quietly growing for DePaul now explodes. We're up now to nearly 9k in advantage at 23 minutes. We've got 3 kills and 4 assists onto King Amazing. Every team has been doing their best to keep King Amazing from taking their throne, but it's looking like it's happening all over again.
Yeah, and now he's sitting on a Lord Dominic's regards, and against this team that builds fairly tanky and has a lot of HP items to their name, that is a huge amount of damage, as they might have found a death brush.
Butler Mac this time doesn't survive getting caught. And what terrible timing as well. We've got the next Mountain Drake coming up in just a few moments' time. The inhibitor is laid bare, but DePaul, they're prioritizing the Drake. It's going to be a long way before they can get hold of the Soul, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. This map, this inner turret part of the map is now DePaul's. You can't go too far out from their base. Look at Butler right here. They're huddled underneath that mid turret here, expecting a push from DePaul here, and it's going to be that is what's happening. This inhibitor is bare, and there's a Tristana with a bomb ready to go on top of it.
So for Butler, they don't want to take that fight while Kamcha pushes down in the bottom side. MGL just soaking some of that King Amazing damage. They do get a stun onto the Tristana, but beautiful equalizer stops any return firepower from coming in. It's only the lack of minions that keeps the DePaul for going for its second inhibitor.
Yeah, and they have a cannon wave pushing in on the mid side here, so they're gonna have to answer that because it's pushing in DePaul's favor. They now have 5 members here, and King Amazing does so much damage to these turrets.
Just truly ludicrous. All those bans to try and keep King Amazing out of the game, and it hasn't worked. The last defense meant that the inhibitor almost went down entirely. The wave is coming. I don't think the Butler can hold.
Yeah, Butler needs to send at least one person to answer these super minions here, because super minions a lot better than cannons and deal a lot of damage. Yeah, there they go.
There's the bullet time. Reaper disrupting the backline as Butler Mac is taken down and deleted. Reaper almost falls, but Butler, they can't find their kills. Health bars are almost gone for nearly all of DePaul, but the kills just aren't happening. MGL almost does it, but almost isn't going to be good enough. Double kill for Kamcha, and play with fire are DePaul, but they know exactly how to avoid getting burned. They're now onto the Nexus towers.
This might be the game.
For the Bulldogs, they thought they could do it. It's the ace. There's no defense left. DePaul, they're almost dead, but almost not good enough. They will be our winners.
Yeah, wow. An amazing game by DePaul. An absolute rushing victory. And this is completely different from what we saw the last time they went up against each other. I was talking before that, like, in this match of a Butler versus DePaul, DePaul is very strong, has King Amazing for their win con. Butler has a very strong mid laner and very strong top laner. Mac and Levi, very strong players. But the last game that they went up against each other, DePaul took 34 minutes to win that game, which means that they were having a very hard time closing that out in the previous game. But here, completely different story. That steal from Baron snowballed into that win. They were able to get at least 3 turrets off that play, pressure the mid inhibitor, and be able to push to that victory through that bot side by just standing there. They just had to stand there and just look Butler in the face and just be like, hey, do you want to kill us, or do you want to kill those minions that are killing your base? And, you know, Butler pulled the trigger, and it backfired.
So we have got Reaper, your favorite and mine, the Hecarim from that last game, standing by. So we'll get them in a second. Reaper, that was a pretty impressive performance, but up until that Baron steal, it felt like it was a game that could be turned back around.
Yeah, so we funny thing is, when we went topside, we did not expect the Rise port, and we still thought we could kill, so we stuck around a little bit longer, and that led to us potentially throwing away a victory, but then they threw it right back at us. It's like we were playing catch, and they said, here, you could take the win, and then they threw me over, and we stole Baron.
Yeah, talk to me about that Baron play, because Mojo Romo did flash over the wall to try to deny you that blast cone there, but he ended up throwing you into the team con. Tell me what was going through your head there as you were just kind of on the edge. Certainly all of us were on the edge of our seats as we were watching that Baron steal. For
sure. So we were all pretty calm for the most part, because we knew Rumble was on his way and he had ult. So the big idea was wait around for Rumble. And then I saw the blast cone up, so I'm like, if I wait here, maybe they auto it, throw me over, I'll just hit it, because we knew it was at 3k. When I stood on top of the blast cone, it was at 3k, so if you wait like 2-3 seconds, they shouldn't take it by then, and then you just blast cone over and 50-50 it. But Karma kind of wanted me to go in sooner, so, you know, just go in, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, that was astonishing stuff. I'm kind of curious. Just kind of go back in time a bit. What were you guys' expectations going up against the Bulldogs here? Were you coming into this one confident?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like we already know we know most of the playstyles of every team, and fun fact about Butler is that they love camping their top laner for the most part, and they'll sometimes camp their mid laner. But if you destroy their mid laner, they will always default to going top lane. So for the most part, we knew what was gonna happen. We were just waiting for it to happen. Like we knew they were gonna get neutrals. Like they have Olaf, we have Hecarim. Can't really kill Olaf early on that much,
right? As
you guys saw when he got the triple kill top lane. But we kind of knew, like, hey, kill the Ryze a couple times, burn his flash, keep track of Olaf, and it should be easy to manage.
Yeah, for sure. I did really want to talk about kind of picks and bans here. Obviously, we see the Rumble coming out. Not exactly the most meta pick right now, but still being on the fringes of this mid lane. Talk to me about this this Rumble pickup here.
We wanted AP, of course, and we wanted early pressure just to mess with the Ryze a lot. And Zerch actually plays a mean Rumble. It's kind of unfortunate that they banned the Vlad because that's what we were hoping for, but that we'll never see the daylight for that. But the Rumble pick was nice because it's exactly what we did actually this game. We burned the Ryze flash, gank him, kill him. Rumble ult is a lot of pressure during team fights as well, as you guys saw in some of the team fights. The Rumble ult had a big impact, and that's basically why we picked the Rumble. It's that AP pressure that we needed from the Rumble because he's just an aggressive pick, and into Ryze it's like you either go even or you beat him. So that's why we picked them.
So looking forward to next week, the final week of the regular season, you guys have got your game against the Friars, but your very last game is the rematch against St. John's University, the team at the top of the table, and the team that's given you, of course, the most trouble so far. How are you guys feeling about going into that match, which could easily be our finals later on in the playoff stages?
So I think we are pretty confident now about going against St. John's because we've been doing our research finally. So I'm pretty sure we're prepared. We haven't really prepared for any of the other matches because we don't really have time to like practice and stuff. Oh, fun fact about DePaul, we don't get to practice as much, so I don't know how the other teams are losing when they practice a lot more. But yeah.
Oh, that's some bold words. Throwing some heat here, I guess. Oh my gosh. I think that just about does it for us here. Reaper, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, congratulations on your victory, and good luck in your next week's games.
For sure, thank you. Thanks for the interview. Have a good day, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Reaper. So, looking forward to next week. So, on the official EGF channel, we will have Georgetown University versus Marquette and Butler University versus University of Connecticut. But over on Big East, Providence College versus DePaul will start things off. And then the last game will be that DePaul versus St. John's University game, the top of the table clash. So you definitely don't want to miss that over on Big East. I would probably even recommend people go watch that, even if we're on official EGF. That is going to be the match of the season.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of very important games next week as well. We talk about St. John's, we're talking about DePaul, we're talking about Butler, but Seton Hall and Marquette are still battling for that 4th place spot there, and UConn is nipping at their heels with an 8-7 here. So there is still an opportunity for UConn to get into this top 4 here. A couple things need to fall into place for them in order to do so, but that is still something that Seton Hall needs to keep in mind as they go into these last 2 games.
Oh yeah, I mean, to come into the final week and to have all of the standings be in a row. St. John's with 14, DePaul 13, then the Bulldogs and Pirates 11 and 10. We've got only single games, which is maybe separating what the 3rd and 4th place will be. And of course, we know that the 3rd seed is very important, if only to try and avoid St. John's for as long as possible.
Yeah, St. John's has been proven to be a very, very strong team. We have a lot of very strong teams at the top of the table. St. John's has been able to win an insane amount of their games. Obviously, 4th place is not where you want to be, and 3rd place and 2nd is about where you want to be at this stage. Obviously, DePaul can still grab that last slot. It's still open to them if they're able to win their game against St. John's, but that kind of that 4th place slot is going to be probably going up against one of those two teams, and it's going to be really hard to beat these two teams.
And so as mentioned before, the Bulldogs will be going up against Villanova and UConn in their final week. The Pirates will be going up against, let's see, UConn and Georgetown. So yeah, that should be very, very close towards the end. St. John's will get the bye as well as that massive game against DePaul. So they will have as much time as they need to prepare for that big match. But for now, guys, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. Shinkari, before we go, would you mind reminding the good folks what else they can be watching in those intervening fleeting days before we come back for the final day of the season?
I mean, of course, how much better can you get than one channel hosting 5 different esports throughout the week? That's right. Monday, there's FIFA. Tuesday, there's Smash Bros. Wednesday, there's Rocket League. Thursdays, there's Overwatch. And you can just come right back here on Saturday for more League of Legends. How much more esports can you get?
Yeah, absolutely amazing stuff. Of course, we hope you guys are able to come back and join us for that. We will, of course, extend our thanks to our producer, Devin, for keeping us nice and toasty all the way through tonight's proceedings. But again, last week of the season coming up next week. Tons of fantastic games. And then we've got the players to look forward to. The top 4 teams competing for it all. For now, though, we will bid you good night, and we shall see you next week.